Hey guys, Joseph here. Now this is actually quite unique because I'm talking about Premium Squads. Now I have made an effort to not talk about Premium Squads at all on this channel. I don't buy Premium Squads, I don't see the point of buying Premium Squads, but since I criticise weapons a lot, I'm just going to talk about the free weapons which you get from Premium Squads in the US campaign. I will be comparing these weapons to the actual base unlocks, as well as, just comparing their prices. Now, there is 3 weapons from 3 different squads. Those are the field modified M3 Grease Gun, which is coming from the Premium Assault Squad, the BAR 1918 version, not the A1 or A2 version, which comes from the Machine Gun Squad, and the Johnson 1941 rifle that comes from the Engineer Squad. Let's start with the M3. Now, the M3 field modification is, as it says, supposed to be a field modification of the M3. It had a hit power of 6.8, meaning 2-shot kill on 10-meter ranges, and around mid-ranges it will be a 3-shot kill. It has 290 to 410 shots per minute, with a reload time of 2.5, 15 vertical and horizontal recoil, 30-round magazine with 4 magazines in reserve, and it can only fire on full auto. The problem with this, however, is its fire rate. Its minimum fire rate is actually worse than the M3, non-upgraded M3, the regular non-upgraded M3. Meanwhile, its maximum fire rate is just as good as the maximum fire rate of the A1. It means that this entire squad is just armed with grease guns. There's actually statistics like horizontal recoil for the A1, which are actually better. The squad itself costs 875 gold, which is about a tenner. But for 10 quid, you get a squad with 4 weapons. You just get 4 assaulters. Yeah, they're max level, but you can get max level assaulters with relative ease. Really not worth it at all. The M3 field modification is a pretty bad weapon, and it's a premium squad. Why, though? Honestly, use any other assaulter squad over this. And the M3 field modification is just a worse version of the M3. Coming up next is the Johnson M1941 semi-automatic rifle. Now, this is a weapon that has 380 to 420 shots per minute, a reload time of 4.3 seconds, with 84 vertical recoil and 26 horizontal recoil. It has a 10-round magazine, but what's unique about this is that it's fed by 5-round stripper clips. The comparison for this is the M1 Garand. In fact, if you actually look at the description and if you know the history of the rifle, then you'd know that this was meant to be a competitor to the M1 Garand. The only advantage it has is a higher magazine and less horizontal recoil, however. The Garand has a better reload time, and let's face it, the Garand is just a more iconic weapon. I will say, however, that the Johnson is an okay weapon. It costs 3,750 to get, and if we're being honest, it's a fine weapon, but the problem I have is the price. If this was the 875 option, then I'd admit I would probably get this. It seems like a cool weapon to use, but the problem is that price is absurd. Obviously, of course, it's with Engineer Squads, which I don't get this one. The Engineer Squad is actually one of the worst things to buy. The reason being is that Engineer 2s are actually better. It costs about £30. It costs nearly £40. That is absurd. £40 for pretty much just a rifle is honestly not worth it. So this one's in a grey area because it's an okay weapon, and if it was in the progression tree, then sure, I would use this. But the problem is that the Garand is in the progression tree, and the Garand is equal to it, and also, let's face it, the reload really hinders this weapon, the stripper clips. Also, yes, I did purposely shoot 6 bullets in one clip just so I can get that glitch. The final premium weapon that you can get for the Americans is the BAR M1918. Now, this is the old World War I version of the BAR. It has 550 to 600 shots per minute, has a reload speed of 2.5, 41 vertical recoil, 15 horizontal recoil, a 20-round magazine, and has dual operation fire modes with auto and semi-auto fire. Now, the problem with the BAR is, in my opinion, the A1 and the A2, which are superior options, they have less recoil. The vertical recoil of the A1 is 38 to 15 with horizontal, which is less vertical recoil than the World War I version, and the A2 has even less than that, and has slow auto fire. Much like the Grease Gun, there's two better weapons. This one has the advantage of being 4 gunners, which is actually impossible to get elsewhere. And I think it was with there was a 35 quid version which had the Polish BARs for the Axis, so you got 2 gunners for pretty much the same cost as the Engineer Squad, which I think was actually quite good. Now, this is the only one I'd actually consider pseudo buying, because yeah, the BAR is outclassed by the A1 and the A2, but the problem with this is that this one has 4 BAR gunners, and let's just face it, gunners are still, even post-nerfs, are still one of the most dominant classes in the game. Other than that, the real problem is, again, the price. 19 quid is not that good. 19, 20 quid is not really, like, much. It's not a price I would want to pay for a weapon which I have for free with the A1 and the A2. The BAR A2 is one of the best weapons in the game as well, and let's face it, it's just better in every way. Even the reload speed on the A2 is better. So with this one, it's kind of like the Grease Gun, but the Grease Gun field modification. However, I would say that this one does have more of a purpose than the Grease Gun field modification, because with that one, that was just completely outclassed even by the Grease Gun. And with the Grease Gun being the worst option for submachine guns, you understand why this one. This one is probably the worst option to get for light machine guns, but it can stand on its own feet with the addition of 4 soldiers instead of 3, where all other gunner squads are limited to 3 soldiers. Obviously, of course, you know, there is weaknesses to this, as it is not as the regular gunners will be using a more superior weapon, but this will still be this is still a decent buy, especially early in the campaigns. With that being said, I'm going to call this one here. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.